Chicago stuffed pizza is an absolute monster of a pizza that you may have had before if you've eaten at a chain called Giordano's. But stuffed pizza was actually invented at a place called Nancy's in Niles, Illinois, and they've shared some invaluable tips online about how they make their pizzas in the restaurant. This style of pizza is baked in a deep dish pan and it has a unique thin layer of crust in between the cheese and the sauce. With a few helpful tips from Nancy's, today I'm going to show you how you can make a sourdough version of stuffed pizza at home. This pizza will require a relatively low hydration sourdough pizza dough. So to a mixing bowl, add 225 grams of water, followed by 100 grams of active and risen sourdough starter. To feed your starter, take 25 grams of starter out of the fridge in the evening and feed it 50 grams of water and 50 grams of all-purpose flour. Let that sit out overnight for at least 6 to 8 hours, and then the next morning it should be doubled in size and ready to use in your pizza dough. So add 100 grams of active and risen starter into the water, and then you could put the leftover sourdough starter that's still in the jar back into the fridge until the next time you want to bake sourdough. Then add 10 grams of white sugar to the mixing bowl, followed by 10 grams of salt. I'm using kosher salt. Then you'll need 25 grams of oil. I'm using vegetable oil, but you could use corn oil or extra virgin olive oil as well. Now using a spoon, stir up the liquid ingredients just to dissolve the starter and salt into the water. And then add 450 grams of all-purpose flour right on top of the liquid ingredients. Mix the dough together with a spoon until a rough, dry dough is formed that looks something like this. When the dough is looking shaggy like this, turn it out onto your unfloured countertop and knead it by hand for about 5 minutes until the dough starts to hold together as a ball. When the dough holds together, it should be relatively smooth on top. Just pop it back down onto the countertop, shape it into a ball a little bit with your hands, and then cover it up with a mixing bowl and let it rest on the counter for 5 minutes. This rest period will actually allow the gluten in the dough to develop without any extra kneading. So by the time you uncover the dough, it'll be a lot smoother and easier to knead. So you can go ahead and uncover the dough and knead it for an additional 1 to 2 minutes until it's feeling very smooth and a little bit tacky. Then you can ball up your dough by hand and get out a container or bowl where you want your dough to rise. I like to use the 7-cup glass bowl from Pyrex. It allows me to see how much the dough is rising because I can actually see through the sides of the bowl. So place your pizza dough inside of the container that you've greased with a little bit of oil and press it down flat. Then cover the dough up with a lid or a damp kitchen towel and let it rise at room temperature for 4 to 6 hours or until it roughly doubles in size. While the dough is rising, you can prepare the pizza sauce. It's a very simple sauce based on a 28-ounce can of whole peeled tomatoes. I like to use this brand of San Marzano tomatoes, but if you like another brand, that's fine too. Add your 28-ounce can of whole peeled tomatoes to a mixing bowl, and then add 1 teaspoon of salt to balance out the flavors. Then the only hint that Nancy's Pizza gave in the video is that their sauce contains fresh parsley and fresh basil. So I'm going to be adding 1 teaspoon of chopped fresh parsley to my sauce, and since my can of tomatoes already came with fresh basil in the can, I'm not adding any additional basil, but you could add a few leaves of fresh basil if you wanted to. At this point, crush your whole peeled tomatoes by hand to incorporate all of those flavors. Don't wear a white t-shirt, and just basically process the sauce down by hand until it becomes a thick and chunky, yet still smooth tomato sauce. This right here is exactly what you're looking for. Just store the tomato sauce in the fridge until you're ready to use it. Now, what are we actually going to be stuffing the stuffed pizza with? Pepperoni or sausage are both good options, but in Nancy's video, they recommend a vegetarian option of fresh spinach and then shredded mozzarella cheese. Notice for this style of pizza, the spinach or toppings go down first and then the shredded cheese second. So get out a 16-ounce block of whole milk mozzarella cheese. This is a brand that I can usually find a whole milk version of. The low moisture whole milk mozzarella is going to be creamier and stretchier than the part skim alternative. So shred up your cheese with a cheese grater. For a 10-inch diameter pizza, you'll need 11 ounces of grated cheese and then 2 cups of fresh spinach. If the pan you're using is larger or smaller than mine, you can adjust the toppings as needed. I'll include recommendations in the written recipe. Now, once your dough has doubled in size, about 4 to 6 hours later, you can make your pizza right away. Or if you're not ready to make pizza yet, you could pop the dough into the fridge and just leave it there on pause until you're ready to make your pizza. When you are finally ready to assemble your pizza, start by preheating your oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit and getting out a 10-inch round deep dish pizza pan. You can use a special Chicago-style deep dish pan. I'll include a link in the description below, or you could also use a 10-inch cast iron pan. Those work great as well. To grease the pan before the dough goes in, Nancy's recommends using an insane amount of butter and margarine mixed together and rubbed into the pan. If you don't want to go that extreme, I recommend just using a few tablespoons of butter. I'm using 2 tablespoons of butter and just greasing it onto the bottom and the sides of this deep dish pizza pan. That really should be enough. Now that your pan is prepared, you're going to divide the dough into 2 separate dough balls. One larger one for the bottom crust and one smaller dough ball that's going to be the middle crust. Start by flattening out the dough into a disc on your countertop. And then using a bench scraper or a knife, sort of visually divide the dough into 4 pieces, and then cut off 1/4 of the dough with your bench scraper or knife. The bigger piece is going to be for the bottom crust, and then the smaller piece is going to be for the thin middle layer of dough. That is the exact ratio of dough that Nancy's recommended in their video. So shape up the 2 pieces of dough into balls on your counter, and then let them rest for 10 minutes at room temperature before you roll them out. For that, you will need a rolling pin and a bowl of cornmeal. We're going to be doing the bottom crust first, so dip the larger piece of dough all over in the cornmeal. I'm just using some finely ground cornmeal that I found at the grocery store. Then roll the large ball of dough with the rolling pin into a large circle. This may take a few times of rolling it back and forth, but eventually you can roll out a circle of dough that's about 1/8 of an inch thick and slightly larger in diameter than your pizza pan. Once the dough is larger than your pan, peel it off the countertop and lay it flat on top of your deep dish pizza pan. Press the dough down into the bottom and corners of the pan so that there aren't any air bubbles. Then press the edges of the dough up into the sides of the pan so that it sticks, and it might even hang over the edge slightly. Either way, once it looks like this, you're ready to stuff your pizza. For stuffed pizza, toppings go in first and then the shredded cheese. So for the spinach and cheese pizza, I'm putting in 2 cups of spinach for a 10-inch pizza, followed by the 11 ounces of shredded whole milk low moisture mozzarella cheese. Spread the cheese around until it reaches the edges of the pan. Then your pizza is stuffed and it's ready for that second extra thin layer of dough. So get out the small ball of dough and roll it all around in the cornmeal. Then press it out on the counter into a disc and roll it flat with a rolling pin. For this second extra small layer of dough, you really can't roll it too thin. The thinner, the better. This layer of dough is going to be in between the cheese and the sauce. So if you accidentally roll it too thick, the dough might end up a little bit doughy after the pizza is baked. But if you keep it paper thin like this, it'll bake up perfectly in the oven. Peel this thin layer of pizza dough off the counter and lay it on top of the pizza. And kind of like if you're making a pie, you want to crimp this layer of dough into the other layer of dough, pinching them with your fingers so the 2 layers of dough stick together. Then using a knife, poke about 8 air holes or so into this top layer of dough so that the cheese can release steam as it bakes in the oven. After that, add your pizza sauce. For a 10-inch round pizza, you'll need 12 ounces of pizza sauce. Spread the sauce all the way to the edges where it meets the crust, and try to spread the sauce out in as even of a layer as possible. You don't want any white patches of dough peeking through because those will puff up and burn in the oven. So feel free to add a little extra sauce if you need to. This is 12 ounces of sauce in total for this 10-inch pizza. For a final touch on the pizza, Nancy's recommends adding a mixture of Parmesan cheese and dried oregano. So I'm adding 1.5 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese and then about a half teaspoon of dried oregano from a shaker bottle. Then the last thing that Nancy's recommends adding before this pizza hits the oven is a little bit of oil to keep the pizza from burning on top. So I'm adding half a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil right on top of the Parmesan cheese. And now your pizza is ready to bake. So go ahead and move this to the center of your preheated oven and bake it at 450 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 to 35 minutes. And that's why this pizza takes so long to get to your table when you go to the restaurant. 35 minutes later, all of the toppings inside the pizza should be perfectly cooked, the cheese will be gooey and melty, and the crust should be looking golden brown on the sides. At this point, remove the pizza from the oven and let it rest in the pan for about 5 minutes. That'll help the pizza firm up a little bit before you try to remove it from the pan. Then using a hard spatula or a triangular pie server, do this sort of tilt and scoop technique to slide the pizza cleanly out of the pan. Now, not all of the restaurants do this, but I like to add about a half tablespoon or so of grated Parmesan cheese on top of the pizza after it's done baking, and then I slice into it and serve. For this type of pizza with a really crispy and delicate but still thick crust, the best type of pizza cutter is one of those rocking pizza cutters that looks like a big saw. So use one of those if you've got one. You can also use a serrated bread knife to cut this pizza. That's what I did last time in my Chicago deep dish video, or just do your best with a round pizza cutter. This sourdough Chicago stuffed pizza is absolutely deep, it's loaded, and thanks to the tips from Nancy's, I think this pizza is looking fairly restaurant quality. You definitely aren't getting any complaints from me over here. Now let's talk about the taste and looks of this pizza. That thin layer of dough in the middle of this pizza creates kind of a visual separation between the cheese and the sauce. The cheese is definitely melty and stretchy, but the pizza holds together really well, and the pizza sauce on top is smooth, but it's still chunky enough to hold on to the top of the pizza, and it's a beautiful vibrant red, and the pizza smells delicious. Now this is definitely a fork and knife type of pizza, especially for the first bite, and speaking of the first bite, what really stuck out to me was how much I love the combination of spinach and mozzarella. I'm really glad that Nancy's recommended that because it's really a delicious combination. But if you want meat toppings, don't worry, I've got something for you. Pepperoni or sausage or even both are great toppings to put in a stuffed pizza. This is a pepperoni pizza that I baked in a 10-inch cast iron pan. I just used pepperoni on the bottom layer instead of spinach, and I think it turned out fantastic. It even had that cheese pull that a lot of people like. You get that by not slicing all the way through the cheese with the pizza slicer. Then when you pull a piece out, it stretches for miles. If you've ever wanted to make Chicago stuffed pizza, give this sourdough recipe a shot, and I'll see you in the next video.